Hi guys. So I'm Nilesh Halde. I'm founder of Appliance Solutions Private Limited. So we are a tech platform for consumer durable industry, and I have got around 19 odd years of experience across various industries, but primarily into software product development. So today I'm going to talk about documentation, which is very important when you really get into software development. So before I start my slides, I would like to ask questions to you guys. How many of you have got software developed in the past? You have developed or you have got software developed from some software company. Can you share your experiences? How was it? Yeah.
I was more into technical side, data warehousing.
Okay. So you are a technical person?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else who is a non-technical person and got the software developed in the past? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I am a non-technical person.
Yeah.
And I have developed software and I have both the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Some it's difficult to take work from software guy, and some is very good.
So when you said difficult, what was it?
Yeah, the technical part that I want this thing, but they were not able to give me that.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Like the time frame which required, it was like they told it will be in 3 months, but it took 1 year.
3 months, 1 year.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What happened?
I don't know why. They were like there's some problem. Like someone left job. It was a basic private company in Pune.
Mm-hmm.
So they were not so serious about my own project, since they had many projects.
Okay.
So that's what. So
What was the team size? What was the team size?
They had 4 people.
4 people.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? 3 months, 1 year. Yeah.
Basically, I used to develop software before.
Okay.
It was very old. Like it was in around 97, 99. That is Fox Pro.
Okay.
And I used to design the systems and everything. Even T-Series was one of the biggest venture which we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the software developing T-Series were developed by me.
Okay.
Even Malhotra Group of India. So it was like an old kind of database administrator and all the others.
Okay. So we have one developer on this side. So let's hear from him. So what was your experience with your clients?
Okay.
So when they used to approach you,
Okay.
that we want to get the software developed. So what were the problems you were facing?
The biggest problem which we are facing is they themselves used not to be very clear in the initial stage. They used to just give us the brief outline. Okay, this is a kind of software. For example, at that point of time, we had developed for T-Series software which is still working today. The monitoring department, for example, they used to give a lot of ads in different channels. And then this channel people used to sometimes show for a time which is less than the original time. So they have given us slots of 2 minutes, 20 times. But they will show only for 1.5 minutes or 1 minute, or sometimes they will not show the full slot at all. The software which I had developed used to catch what is the actual order given and what is the actual thing.
So sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned that they were not very clear what they really wanted, right?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else has got the, yeah. What was your experience?
Sir, I have been developing software when the clients rejects order, gives us order to develop something. And the last moment, he keeps on sending inquiries or that is verification, modification, keep on going.
So there were a lot of change requests.
Yeah.
Lots of change required till it is completed.
Till it is completed. So these are the typical experiences. I mean, this is the classic case where the developer committed 3 months and it took him 1 year. Whose problem it was?
I had defined the code quotation before. The problem was that their problem actually. I didn't make any changes.
It was their problem.
Yeah, I didn't make any changes after that. So major changes, I didn't make it.
So how you had given your requirements to them?
On documentation.
On documentation. What all things you had covered in that?
I had covered, it was a SaaS product. It was a practice management product.
Okay.
Doctor practice management.
Okay.
So they were they told me that they are capable of doing that. They didn't have that tech support. They had tried to hire people after that, after my quotation.
Okay. So typically this has been experiences. In fact, I have had these kind of experiences where they committed 3 months and it took really 1 year to develop the product, and which is very common and which happens. But after doing this course, what we expect is these kind of situations won't happen. So let me start with the story, Sam's story. Meet Sam. Sam is a young, dynamic entrepreneur. He has worked in industry for almost 7 years, and he has been toying with some business idea over the period of time, and he wanted to get into e-commerce. So he is not like typical Hindi film hero who has just got Maa Ka Ashirwad. He also has got some money with him, okay, to start his own venture. So he decides to get into it, and he wants to develop an e-commerce website. Meet second character of the story, Dave. Dave is a techie, young techie, and he runs a small software company. Okay, he develops softwares for people, maybe somebody like his vendor. So Sam calls Dave and says, I want to get the website developed, e-commerce website developed. Can you do it for me? Dave promises moon. I'll develop in 3 months. Yeah? And this guy, Dave, is a funny character. He has got a line which he says, I am Dave. My name is Dave, Dave the developer. Dave also says he has got a good team in place, having different expertise, and he can very well develop the software within 3 months. Let's say, take his example. Impressed with Dave, Sam decides to give contract to Dave, and he gives the contract, and the story starts. So Sam had got some product in his mind, okay, a software product. So he had something like this in his mind. Sam wants to get something like this developed from Dave. When Sam meets Dave, he explains the product to Dave, his requirements to Dave. This is how Sam explained the requirements. He couldn't articulate well. Okay, so he had something in this kind of a product in his mind, but while explaining, this is what he explained. Dave was listening to him, and this is what Dave understood. The product in mind, the explanation, and the understanding. There is always a gap, right? Do you agree? Yes. So Dave have understood something. He goes back to his office and explains the requirement to his system designer. Okay, the whole software needs to be designed first before getting it developed. This is how the system was designed. Yeah? Again, communication gap, the gap of understanding. The system was designed, it was given to developers to develop it. The coding was done. This is how programmers developed it. And this is how it was deployed on a testing server. You remember the product, what he wanted, right? And after spending 3 months, what was committed by Dave, this is how it was deployed on a testing server, and they gave it to Sam for testing. Sam was very happy, excited. He had already paid advances, he had given money, and after a long wait of 3 months, he got something for testing. This is what Sam discovered while testing. Got a shock of his life. Okay, this is not what he wanted. Again, back to the drawing board. He calls Dave. Dave, this is not done. I don't want this. Okay, my requirement is this. He explains it to Dave once again, and by the time he has already wasted 3 months and a lot of money. Yeah, and just imagine the opportunity cost, because he has delayed by 3 months to get into the market. Sam compromises. Okay, Dave suggests him, oh, your requirement was this. What we can do is there are some open source softwares available, okay, we can deploy those patch and it should be working fine. Sam compromises. There were some features he had to, really compromise, but he agrees. This is how the open source patch was deployed. Again, not done. Yeah. Poor Sam, another 2 months have gone. He compromises further because he wants to see his product getting into the market. Okay, he strips down all the features which were really exciting for him, and he says, please develop only this much part so that I can get into the market. Yeah, so he compromises and says, give me plain vanilla product which is working so that at least I can release the product into the market.
This happens only in India?
No. This happens everywhere. Only thing is, it depends who is your developer and what you're getting developed and what is your approach to the develop. Yeah, so that we'll see. So coming back to the point, Sam compromises further and he asks Dev to deliver a basic product. Yeah. Now Dev is pretty clear. He goes back. The software is developed and delivered. Testing done. Sam found it to be okay. Okay, it can be released into the market. Basic product, not a big deal, right? So they release the product in the market, and this is how product performs. It fails. It couldn't take the load. This is how support was given. Your point, you said support was not there, right? This was the disaster recovery plan. Absolutely nothing was planned if something goes wrong. You know what Sam's customers actually wanted? Was this. And this typically happens, we think of some idea and we feel there is a need into the market, but we add so many features to it, okay, the product or the software becomes pretty complex, and 80% of those features your customer really doesn't want it. So Sam failed in his research as well. We have seen research, right? We have seen validation of the idea and other stuff, right? So Sam failed in research itself. Recap. Sam wanted to get something like this developed. This is how he explains. This is what developer understood. System was designed. How it was deployed, what it discovers in a testing. Open source, compromise further. System underperformed. There was absolutely no support given. There was no plan for disaster recovery. And the need was something else. The end result? Sam was built for roller coaster. He wanted a swing to be developed, and after 1 year, he was built for roller coaster. And this happens. Now Sam is thinking, Dev the developer or Dev the dev loafer? Okay. And the fight started with the developer. You started fighting with your developer, right?
Yeah, I left him.
You left him, right? Nothing can be done about it. Yeah. So the fight started with the developer. Everybody started blaming each other. But you know why this happened?
Basic design documentation.
This is how the system was documented. There was no documentation at all. Got it? So if you don't document, you'll end up becoming Sam. How many of you have heard this term software development life cycle? Can you explain?
It's a software development life cycle. It starts from the system architecture designing to the deployment stage, and the maintenance will also be covered in that.
Okay.
It's a phasing.
Testing and maintenance, the last part.
I think the first stage should be requirement gathering,
Requirement gathering.
and then the architecture designing, development,
Correct.
testing and maintenance.
Pretty close. So software development life cycle, popularly known as SDLC, yeah, it has got various stages. The first step is understanding of the business, right? So what you people must have seen so far: ideation, research, business model, right? Business model canvas. So the first step is understanding the business itself. The second thing, or the second step, is recommendations. So when we have some idea, we talk to a lot of friends. At times we hire consultants, right? They recommend something to us. All right. We do research. We see competitors' websites. So there are some recommendations which we gather, based on which we prepare our final business model. The third step is scope building. So what is the scope of development? Yeah, which you have to list it down. The next step, fourth step, is selecting the technology for the requirement. Yeah, because based on your requirements, the technology may change. You may have to go for different technologies based on your features or the requirements. The next step is planning. Okay, there is a possibility that you may like to get the software developed in phases. Yeah, so you have to plan for your phases. The next thing which happens is resources are allocated to develop the software. So there could be graphics, there could be UI, UX guys, yeah, programmers. If there is a mobile development involved, then mobile programmers. Yeah, resources are allocated. Then your user interface or the screens what you see are designed. So we are almost halfway through of the software development life cycle, and development has not started yet. 8th step is software programming, then testing, then your product cataloging. So you'll have a lot of products or the content which you need to upload. Then it is deployed on the server, then the support is given. So you guys clear on the software development life cycle? You Google it, there will be a lot of information available on software development life cycle.
Typically, how much time it takes, the complete cycle?
So this is a very generic question. My answer would be it will depend on your scope. Okay, what kind of a software you want to get developed. Yeah, so you'll get a lot of information of software development life cycle if you Google it. But the interesting thing what I wanted to tell here is I break this software development life cycle into 2 parts. So 1 to 7 is first phase. The efforts which goes into this first phase is roughly 50 to 60%. Yeah, the time share. So if 3 months is the project or 6 months is the project, then 3 months would go into this phase itself. So 45 to 55% is the time share which this phase takes. Your value addition as an entrepreneur or the business or the customer, yeah, is 70 to 80%. And your developer's value addition in this phase is just 20 to 30%.
So how much advance should be given? Half percentage? For 50% or 20%?
Contract value? I mean, you're talking about money to be paid? Okay. I would strongly recommend you can pay at the most 25% when you give the contract. Okay. So typically people would ask for 50% advance, right?
Yes.
Don't pay them 50% advance. Maximum you pay 25% along with the contract. Maximum I'm saying. Okay. And after this phase gets over, you can pay balance 25% to make the advance 50%. Your value addition is 70 to 80%. That means you are the hero in this phase. You have to be actively involved. Typically what happens is we hire a developer, we engage a developer, then we feel our job is done, right? We stay away from the development and then we get that shock, what Sam got during testing. The second phase, again, efforts is 40 to 50%. Time share is 45 to 55%. Your value addition is now just 20 to 30% and developer's value addition is 70 to 80%. So phase 1, you have to drive. You have to be actively involved into the development. Phase 2, leave it to the developer. Got it? Your role will come only in testing and content. So phase 1, you can address with documentation. Okay, so if you do your documentation right, you will take care of phase 1. So there are different forms of document, different terminology which you might have heard. Request for proposal, PRD, SRS. Have you heard these terms? No? Request for proposal, RFP, very common, not only technology, across any field this term is used. So request for proposal is
Quotation, offer.
Quotation.
No, so quotation offer is given by the developer, right? If you look at the big projects, okay, when they release the tender, okay, this typically you will see in tender thing. When they release the tender, lot of specifications have been already laid. Yeah, so you get the absolute clarity what needs to be developed. The scope of work is given in detail.
Like deliverables.
Deliverables. So RFP is request for proposal which is given to your developer before he gives the quotation. Got it? So in normal language you can call it as a scope of work. Any developer gives you quotation without understanding the scope of work in detail, irrespective of his pricing and his commitments, don't give contract to him. As simple as that. Yeah, typically what happens is, oh, e-commerce website, I'll charge you 3 lakh rupees, 4 lakh rupees, 1 line quotation. You got 1 line quotation? Okay.
Intention was not clear, sir. Actually, what was promised was not given to you.
Okay. So without understanding the scope, you can't really give the quotation, right? So if somebody is giving you quotation without understanding the scope, don't award contract to him, even if he is the L1 or the cheapest guy. Yeah. So request for proposal is one form, which is more of a scope of work document. PRD, product requirement document, is another form. This is more of an internal document, PRD, okay, because you may take requirements from different departments, right? Your accounting may have some requirement, your marketing may have some requirement, right? So this is more of a product requirement document which comes from different departments of your company. The last form is SRS, Software Requirement Specification. Now this is mother of all document, yeah, which covers a lot of technical things as well as business things. So this is more of a blueprint, the drawings, okay, of the project, yeah.
The flowchart.
Flowchart is also part of it, yeah. So this is like, I mean, before you construct a building, there are a lot of drawings are made, a lot of bill of material specifications are laid, right? So SRS is that kind of a document, yeah.
PRD and PRD.
PRD is product requirement document, which is more of an internal document. So for example, let's say you want to develop an e-commerce website, right? Who will be the users of your software?
Many departments.
Huh?
Many departments.
Many departments. So first and foremost, it's customers, right? Your customers would use it. Who else?
Vendors.
Your vendors may use it. Great. Who else?
Accounts department.
Your accounts department may use it. You know, he may have his own requirement. Ki whenever I get a report, I want a report where VAT is separated out. So I want a specific to VAT so that my filing becomes easy, right? I want to know the returns separately so that I can take care of into it. I want an inventory report separately, right? So he may have his own requirement. Your marketing guy may have his own requirements, right? He may say, I'm planning to have some schemes like buy one get one free, or I'm going to bundle the product, okay? Or I may have some scheme like buy for 11 months, 12th month is free, right? So he may have his own marketing plans and marketing requirement, right? And when you get into e-commerce, you can't manually handle it, right? Your software has to take care of it. So he may have his own requirement on marketing front. So that way every department of your organization, okay, even though you are a starter, there won't be many departments in place. Forget department, there won't be many people in place, yeah. But still you need to think from that point of view, that I'm a full-blown enterprise. I have this department, I have that department, I have marketing, I have vendor management, yeah. And you need to think what all things they would require, right? So there could be different users of your software, yeah, and you have to get the requirement from every user, right? If there are no people in place, then you have to wear that hat, okay, and you have to think, correct? You're clear on PRD?
Yes.
Yeah? So you don't need to make all three documents, okay, even if you make SRS, which is good enough, which is mother of all document. So you're clear with the all forms of documents, right? So if you do just SRS, it's good enough, yeah? We'll see why to document for your own understanding and clarity. What you were asking some time back, yeah? So once you start documenting, you'll start finding the gaps. It happens typically, yeah? So there are a lot of thoughts which comes to our mind. We don't really document it, and after some time we tend to forget it. और 2 महीने बाद याद आता है कि अरे वो भी एक फीचर सोचा था मैंने. Okay, so once you start documenting, your own understanding will get cleared. You'll come to know what you really require.
Sir, we used to say when you document, you'll become more clear of how unclear you are.
Good way to put it. Second reason why you should be documenting, it will give clarity to your developer what he really needs to develop, so that he will be able to give you proper quotation, proper offer and proper timelines. What I have told you before, if somebody gives you code without understanding the scope, don't give contract to him. Because later on, all those change requests, 3 months, 1 year, all those stuff will happen. If you document, your developer will be able to select right technologies. You'll see in technology lecture which is going to happen after this, there are various technology options available. Yeah, if you think of database, there is SQL, there is Oracle, MongoDB. There are different types of databases available. Now, which one to choose? Yeah, your developer would be able to decide on that only if you give him scope of requirement. If you document it well, your development time would go down. Believe me, if you document it well, you will be able to save at least 30 to 35% of your development time. So 3 months won't become 1 year. And of course, if the development time goes down, your project cost will reduce and there won't be many change requests which keeps on coming, right? Agreed? The last one, but the most important one, avoid conflicts with your developer. Because typically what happens is, we have seen Sam's story, right? And Dave, yeah? You end up fighting with developer and all your energy, resources is getting vested in those fights rather than doing something constructive. Okay, for 1 year, he couldn't get into the market. He was fighting with his developer and end of the day, he had to give it up. Yeah. So these are the reasons why you must document before getting into development. I would strongly recommend don't talk to developer unless and until you have your document ready. This is within your control, right? Okay. So make your document ready, then only go out and search for your developer who can deliver this project. Clear? Normally हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पहले डेवलपर ढूंढते हैं और उसके बाद ये सारा चालू कर देते हैं and we end up becoming Sam. Don't do that. पहले डॉक्यूमेंट करो और उसके बाद में डेवलपर ढूंढो. Yeah? Things are changing. Okay? कल शायद आपने देखा रहेगा कि पहले कस्टमर जमा करो, बाद में टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करने जाओ. Correct? Same thing. You do the document first and then search for the developer.
These are the times what happens with the client is, the client when they do the initial meeting, okay, they just have the basic framework, but when they actually understand from the developers what can be done to make it better. That creates the whole...
Correct. So there are two options into it. Yeah. Option number 1, you do documentation and then approach developer. Okay. Or option number 2, you engage developer and ask your developer to do documentation for you. So ask your developer to give you SRS before starting the development. And it's not going to come free. Yeah, they are going to charge you. It is going to cost you. Okay, but it's better to pay that money. Okay, so that your whole development cycle would be smooth. Without documentation, don't proceed to development.